Hi, good morning to all. I am P. Susila, Assistant Professor, Department of Information Technology, JJ College of Arts and Science, Pudukkottai. Now, I have to discuss the topic ASP.NET Validation Control. Okay. What is the goal of validation control? Validation controls are an essential part of ASP.NET web development because they help ensure the integrity of user input. When user enter information into web forms, there is always the potential for intentional or unintentional errors. Validation controls provide a way to check the accuracy and validity of user input before the web application processes it. How to check the input values? We check user input on the client side or on the server side. Both side we have to check the user input. The example for checking is the name text box is empty, or does the email text box contain a structurally valid email address? These are sample example for validating user input. Next, how the client side and server side validation done. Okay, in client side validation, the client side validation done in the browser side by using the JavaScript, and it does not require HTTP request and responses. If we consider server side validation, it is done on the server by using C# and it requires HTTP request and a response also. But client side validation does not require HTTP request plus responses. Okay. Next, what are the validator controls available in ASP.NET? Okay. The validation controls available in ASP.NET are: number 1, record field validator; number 2, compare validator; number 3, range validator; number 4, regular expression validator; number 5, custom validator; and number 6, validation summary. Okay, now we have to discuss one by one. Before we are discussing the validation controls, now we have to see what are the common properties of validation controls. The common properties of validation controls are: number 1, control to validate, that means the control to be validated. Number 2, error message. Error message means the message used in the validation summary. Okay. Number 3, text. Text means the error message used in the validation control. And finally, CSS classes, that means style appearance of the messages. Okay. Record field validator. The record field validator control ensure that the record field is not empty. It is generally tied to a text box to force input into the text box. The syntax of the record field validator contains a record field validator ID, runnet, control to validate, error message, and finally initial value. Okay, this form shows the sample example for record field validator. Next, compare validator. The compare validator control compares a value in one control with a fixed value or a value in another control. It has the following specific properties. They are: type, control to compare, value to compare, and operator. And the syntax of compare validator contains compare validator ID, runnet, error message. This form shows the example for compare validator. The next validator is range validator. The range validator control verifies that the input value falls within a predetermined range. It has 3 specific properties. They are: type, minimum value, and maximum value. And the syntax of the range validator contains the fields range validator ID, runnet, control to validate, error message, minimum value, and maximum value. This form shows the example for range validator. Next, regular expression validator. The regular expression validator allows validating the input text by matching against a pattern against a regular expression. The regular expression is set in the validation expression property. And the following table summarizes the commonly used syntax constructs for regular expressions. They are match characters and match any character in the set by using the square brackets, and we also check the excludes any character in the set and match any character specified in the range, and also check matches any alphanumeric characters and underscore and non-word characters. Okay. Next, we have to discuss custom validator. The custom validator control allows writing application specific custom validation routines for both the client and the server side validation. The server side validation routine should be written in any .NET languages like C# or VB.NET. And the syntax of custom validator contains the fields custom validator ID, runnet, client validation function, error message. Next, validation summary. The validation summary control does not perform any validation but shows a summary of all errors in the page. The summary displays the values of the error message property of all validation controls that failed validation. Using page is valid property, we can check for page errors. When there are no errors is valid, returns true, and user can proceed to the next page. Okay, now the topic is over. Thank you.